What's going on, everybody? I am Winston Marshall, aka the Swaggy Blerd, and this is the Blerd Breakdown, the pop culture show for when you need to know, see what happened was. If this is your first time here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know every time we've got new content dropping, and be sure to throw a thumbs up on this video. Greatly appreciate it. Man, it's been a minute since I feel like I've seen you guys live. I want to say it was last Thursday, actually. It might have been last Wednesday. I can't remember which day in particular, but I do apologize for that, man. But I'm glad to be back. Glad to be talking about some crazy stuff that's been going on. Everything from Peter Safran potentially leaving DC Studios and all sorts of just crazy stuff, potentially getting Madison in the MCU as part of the X-Men, and a lot of Diddy or Didn't He, both with Jay-Z and Diddy directly, man. So we're going to jump right into it, and let's go ahead and jump into our first story in particular. As I mentioned, there is a rumor circulating that Peter Safran could be leaving DC Studios and could be becoming the head of Warner Brothers Pictures, specifically their movie department. Let's talk about it. Comic Book Movie is reporting on this, and this is Josh Wilding. Earlier this week, a report from Puck claimed that Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav is looking to end Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi's stint as Warner Brothers Pictures co-chiefs. They spent an awful lot more than they've made for the studio since taking charge of its film slate, and the frugal Zaslav, who hasn't shied away from scrapping near-completed projects, appears to have reached the end of his tether. DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran is reportedly a top contender to take over from Luca and Abdi, though that would currently leave James Gunn to run the studio alone. The Insider has shared an update today, theorizing that Zaslav may be eyeing Safran because he wants out of the DCU. It makes zero sense to me, Jeff Snyder started, unless his DC Studios co-chief James Gunn has become such a control freak that Safran feels like there isn't much there for him to do over there. That could explain why he'd rather take another position within the studio, which would allow him to work on a greater range of projects outside of comic book movies and TV shows. That said, I'm told that the number 3 at DC Studios, Chantal Nyong, isn't quite ready to replace Safran in the capacity of co-CEO, nor is she necessarily the right fit alongside Gunn. So while the Warner Brothers slate may fare better under Safran, DC Studios may ultimately suffer in the long run without him taking on the brunt of business responsibilities for the studio, he concluded. Until now, the belief has been that Gunn handles the creative, with Safran, a veteran Hollywood producer, managing DC Studios' business operations. Seems highly unlikely that Gunn has the time or inclination to become a DC Studios Kevin Feige, especially as that would leave him little to no room to write or direct any new DCU projects. Still, whether Gunn is paired with an inexperienced Young or another executive is bound to have major consequences for the burgeoning franchise. The first big test will be Superman. All signs currently point to the movie being a hit. Fan response has been positive, but should it underperform, Zaslav may sour on the DC brand and decide that it's also not worth sinking any further money into. He didn't shy away from scrapping Batgirl after all. With any luck, the DCU is here to stay. The superhero genre as a whole will benefit from its success, but for now, we'll just have to wait and see how things shake out. Ooh, boy. Yeah. Sorry about that. Did not mean to throw that back on. But let's talk about it, man. I mean, that would be kind of a big deal if Safran is already out. That would not bode super well for things and how they've been going. Just because, the rumor of him wanting to be out and not work with Gunn anymore because Gunn is got too much going on would it just doesn't look good. Let me put it to you that way. Now, I don't necessarily think, again, this is all rumors. Nothing is really, a thing yet, so we won't really know until we know. But goddamn, man, especially because we do know that, that report is not wrong. Zaslav will pull the trigger on shit at any point in time if he feels like it. There is no chill with him as far as that goes. He got rid of Batgirl. He got rid of Coyote versus Acme. He scrapped God knows how much stuff over on Adult Swim and Cartoon Network and a lot of stuff that was pulled off of Max and things like that. So we know that he is willing to do that stuff. But I genuinely think it would be very interesting to see if Safran really isn't getting along with Gunn right now. If Gunn is again, there have been weird floating rumors that, people feeling like, oh, James isn't letting them kind of do what they want. It's really his way or the highway type situation, but we really don't know one way or the other what's been going on. So that would be interesting, but I don't know, man. That's absolutely wild to see. Safran is a veteran producer, so if he does take over DC Pictures, I mean, that lending his experience to the rest of the studio is not a bad thing. But I'm genuinely curious to see what ultimately ends up happening and who you do pair Gunn up with if that's the case. I mean, again, if this person is not ready to go yet, Chantal, then, I don't know. I don't know if you bring in an outsider one way or the other. I really have no clue. And the one thing I will say that I'm not a huge fan of, let me throw my light on so we're not getting all this constant imbalance here. That should help. It's not a good sign, potentially, that, things are kind of all over the place. That is not a great sign one way or the other. And so I really hope, because we haven't even gotten this crazy thing off the ground yet, that that's not what's happening. I would really hate that. I want to see where this is going. I want to see, what we're doing. I don't want this thing to just go sideways like that. That would really, really, really suck. But all that being said, I'm curious what you think. Do you think that this is much ado about nothing? Or do you think that, we are really in that place right now where this might be over before it starts? Because that is one thing that is kind of worrisome one way or the other. Let me know what you think in the comments, man. I would love to get your take on the whole situation. And let's get into the next story. Bam. All right. Mickey Madison, the now Best Actress winner for Anora, could be joining the team of the X-Men. Josh Walding from Comic Book Movie. Now, earlier this month, a rumor surfaced suggesting that Mickey Madison, fresh off of her Oscar win for Anora, is being eyed for a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Madison was best known for supporting turns in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Scream before the actor's breakthrough performance in Anora earned her several accolades, including the aforementioned Academy Award. Today, gossip website Dexmois claims that claims that Marvel Studios wants Madison for the upcoming X-Men reboot. They didn't expect her to say yes. After all, she'll likely want to follow Anora with more prestige fare rather than a blockbuster. But who the 25-year-old could play is undeniably intriguing. Jean Grey, perhaps. Characters like Rogue, Mystique, and Emma Frost would be great fits. Rumors continue to swirl about the X-Men cast. Sadie Sink was the reported frontrunner for Jean, though her Spider-Man 4 casting has seemingly debunked the notion. Jack Champion and Harrison Dickinson, meanwhile, have been eyed for Cyclops. Ayo Edebiri is supposedly in line to play Storm after missing out on a role in Thunderbolts, and Julia Butters could be the MCU's Kitty Pryde. Margaret Qualley is a contender for Rogue, and believe it or not, Denzel Washington may be the Master of Magnetism Magneto. Finally, we've heard Javier Bardem is the favorite to portray Mr. Sinister. Addressing the future of the X-Men in the MCU last year, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige said, I think you will see that continues in our next few movies and with some X-Men players that you might recognize. Right after that, the whole story of Secret Wars really leads up to a new age of mutants and the X-Men. Again, it's one of those dreams come true. We finally have the X-Men back. Reading between the lines, it appears the mutant saga is nearly upon us as we rocket to the end of the ongoing multiversal saga. Marvel Studios has been sitting on the rights to the X-Men for the better part of 6 years, but after critical and it's been 6 years, goddamn. After critical and commercial flops like Dark Phoenix and the New Mutants, the characters being put on ice for a while was a must. And in the meantime, access to the Earth 100005 has proved an easy way to add mutants to the multiverse saga. Which character do you think would be great for Madison in the reboot? All right. Well, I think adding anybody with Academy Award prestige to it is only going to help. I know obviously that was something they love to say, Academy Award winner Halle Berry and all that kind of stuff, and continue to add that. It's only going to help. Adding Denzel would be huge. We've talked about that. Adding Javier would be huge. We've talked about that. Um, if Gene really is open like that, I think that obviously Madison would absolutely crush it. Um, I have only seen some of her work. I haven't seen Honora yet, but I do remember her in Once Upon a Time and in Scream. So I do think that she would bring definitely a sort of je ne sais quoi to the role. But the one thing about the X-Men is you have the world is your oyster. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about Dazzler multiple times. They've talked about bringing in a pop star, but if she can sing, I think that she would absolutely crush as Dazzler. I think other than that, just off the top of my head, I would love to. I don't know if she can do a Russian accent, but Magic would be great. I want more Magic. I do, even though New Mutants was trash. I love what. Oh my God! Why am I forgetting her name all of a sudden? My goodness, not Ana de Armas. What is wrong with me? I'm gonna sit here and go for like 2 seconds, and then the minute I pull her name up, I'm gonna be kicking myself. God damn it, Anya Taylor-Joy. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy was good, even though the Mutants was bad, but I don't think they're gonna bring her back because you're just kind of throwing it all out. But I would love to see her. I think she would do a great job with Magic personally, from what I've seen of her. So. Who knows? Who knows? I think bringing the prestige of the Oscars in. Thank you, ZB. Yes, Anya Taylor-Joy. I think bringing the prestige of Oscar winners in is only going to help your cause. And I think you want to come in swinging. You want to bring in some of the best heavy-hitting actors and actresses you possibly can because you are trying to get this to another place now. You're trying to get this to a much... You want people to have the same regard for the X-Men as you did when Avengers was at its peak, when the MCU was at its peak, if not higher. Especially because times have changed and people are kind of soured on it all right now. But let me know what you think, where you think she would possibly fit, and what actor or actress have you that you are a big fan of that you haven't heard any rumors yet of them joining the MCU or anything like that, and you would love to see them join as one of the X-Men. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And now we got to get to the more serious stories, man. We got two Diddy or Didn't He's right now. The first one in regards to Jay-Z. Now, I was hoping that I was going to be able to do a show on Tuesday, but I had a lot of different stuff going on, so I unfortunately couldn't. So the news broke yesterday that there was some audio released of the Accuser against Jay-Z and Diddy admitting that she... was not assaulted, that she was pressured by her lawyer to do so. Well, she has said that the PIs have twisted her words. This is the TMZ report. Jay-Z's Jane Doe accuser says, don't believe the recording Jay-Z's private investigators made of her allegedly retracting her rape allegations. Because she is claiming the two private investigators flat out lied in their declarations to the court. One day after Jay's attorneys released portions of the recorded convo they had with the accuser, she filed new declarations, telling the judge Charlotte Henderson and James Butler shocked her when they showed up uninvited at the door of her Alabama home. In documents obtained by TMZ, Doe says she was not in any way calm, neutral, or at ease and trembled the entire time we spoke, totally contrary to how Henderson and Butler described Doe's behavior during the interaction. She also is denying the claim. She told them 4 times Jay-Z was not involved in the alleged 2000 assault following the VMAs in New York City. In the new documents, Doe says, I never stated whether once or 4 times that Mr. Carter did not assault me. It is true. In the released recording, you only hear Doe's response, yeah, after the investigator says Jay didn't commit any sexual acts towards you. As for whether Tony Busby, Doe's attorney, pushed her to sue Jay-Z, she again denies saying that to the investigators, but this part gets murky. Doe says she never said those words. He was the one that kind of pushed me towards going forward with him with Jay-Z. However, Henderson's declaration includes that exact quote, as does the recording. Doe insists, I never made such a statement to Henderson or any other person. So who or what you gotta believe on that part? One more thing. Doe also claims the PIs twisted her meaning when she said, how does this help me? Doe says Henderson's declaration makes it seem like she was saying, what's in it for me if I sign an affidavit recanting the allegations? Doe says what really happened is that Henderson yelled, we're trying to help you, as she was leaving the house, and Doe replied, how does this help me? Seems ticky-tack, but both sides in the legal war are laser focused on every detail. Remember, although the accuser dismissed her lawsuit, Jay-Z is now suing her and Busby for lying and tarnishing his rep. Woo! So that's the whole thing. It is true that the accuser has dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice, meaning they cannot file again. So this isn't even necessarily a situation where it sounds like she is trying to refile. But Jay-Z is suing her and is suing Tony Busby for essentially dragging his name into this whole thing and saying that these were all lies and fabrications and things like that. So I just know that this whole thing is very messy. This is very, very messy. I've heard the recording. I don't know if you've listened to it, but if you go, you can Google it. And it does sound like the investigators are asking her, so you were convinced by your lawyer to pursue these claims? Like, can you tell us more about it? And she was like, it kind of sounds like one way or the other that she was. And this whole thing just feels messed up. Because, like, part of what we're going to talk about, too, I tried to get a one-off done for you guys on Monday regarding OBJ and Drewski, and we'll talk about that in just a moment as part of there's new stuff that's been filed. You have this whole situation where essentially, like, you do have people kind of throwing weird details that don't make sense. When we talked about this originally, this particular lawsuit, the claim of where this all happened didn't account for the timeline of photos showing Jay-Z being at a club at an after party when this was all going down. So that was kind of weird. You know what I mean? The same thing. Everything has just been real rocky here. Now, mind you, on the one hand, it is to be said that obviously people that have a lot of money and influence can pay for the best lawyers and private investigators and have resources that folks that are typically the victims in the case do not necessarily have. But at the same time, again, the details are just not aligning. Even her saying that she was, I believe, picked up by her, if I remember correctly, don't quote me here, but something about her being picked up by her father after the fact, but the father being like, I wasn't anywhere near the situation. I don't even think he was in the same state potentially. Like, there's just things that do not add up about this. So I'm a little more inclined to believe, especially since they have dismissed their own lawsuit with prejudice here, that this whole thing was just kind of just ugly. And somebody mentioned, if you dismiss something with prejudice, that is typically a signal of a settlement one way or the other. We have not obviously heard any reports of that, and if it were to happen, I would assume it would be hush hush under the radar type situation. But I don't know. I mean, the one thing that at least is still working in her favor is that, you know, if there was something going on or whatever, she's still a Jane Doe. Nobody knows this woman's name or anything else like that. But the one thing I have said from top to bottom with all of this, I just want justice served. If these victims were actually attacked, I want the people that attacked them to be punished and to see the jail time or the monetary compensation or whatever is appropriate for that situation. And if these people are lying, then they need to see their own form of punishment, whether it be the countersuits where they lose money or they see their own jail time for filing false reports or whatever it is. But as we go to this next story, one of the things that's very interesting is, again, details do not make logical sense here. And there needs to be some stuff kind of explained. So let's talk about this next story, man. A Maui police chief is now being named in the lawsuit as a co-conspirator with Diddy. This is also TMZ. Now, Diddy's alleged sexual assaults were aided by Maui's police chief. This according to an amended lawsuit that has also named NFL wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and influencer Drewski as co-conspirators. Here's the deal. A lawsuit claims that John Pelliter, while on a trip to California, pretended to be a local sheriff in 2018 after a woman named Ashley Parham claims Diddy and others violently gang raped her. If you don't remember, Parham claims she was set up by Shane Pierce, a mutually alleged associate of Diddy's, to be sexually assaulted at his apartment after she made a comment on the phone with the rap mogul about how he murdered Tupac. She says she went over to Pierce's apartment and sat down to watch a movie. Diddy and his entourage allegedly arrived and raped her. Parham claims she eventually fled the house and a neighbor called the police, which is when per letter Peltier, per letter, where am I? I'm thinking of Ike Perlmutter. Good Lord. Peltier. That's awful. Who was allegedly working security for Diddy at the time of this alleged incident, told Parham and her neighbor they had received several noise complaints and instructed Parham to go home. She says Peltier did not offer to take her home, call for emergency services like an ambulance, or offer to take her to a hospital, and he did not offer to help her recover her clothing or personal effects from the apartment in which she was allegedly assaulted. As we told you, Peltier, who became Maui's police chief in 2021, is far from the only person named in the amended complaint, which also levied accusations of NFL wide receiver Beckham, OBJ, who Parham claims participated in the assault, has blasted the claims, calling them stupid, and says he's never been to the city where the alleged assault is said to have happened. Diddy's team has also denied the allegations. Worth noting, Maui County Mayor Richard Bison has called on Peltier to be put on administrative leave pending an investigation due to the lawsuit. Peltier denied all allegations against him in a statement released to local Hawaii media. TMZ reached out to Peltier as well. So far, no word back. But there was an update at 8:36 Pacific time this morning. The Maui police chief, John Peltier, tells TMZ, I have no connections whatsoever to any individuals named in the lawsuit. The allegations suggesting his involvement are entirely unfounded. I am confident that the evidence will demonstrate these claims to be false and will expose those who are deliberately trying to manipulate the legal system to spread misleading narratives. 2018, while serving as a captain in Las Vegas, I was honored by the Rape Crisis Center for exceptional leadership and commitment to community safety, specifically through a role as a champion of the Stay Safe program dedicated to sexual assault prevention. These baseless allegations not only are wrong, but also show a lack of respect for the victims of abuse, whose voices deserve to be heard and supported with compassion and integrity. All right. Yeah. So, can't say much to the cop one way or the other, though. The one piece of evidence that really kind of, above all else, makes me go, I don't know what this person is talking about, is specifically when you involve OBJ and Drewski, but specifically Drewski. So I'm going to read just a small bit from the this Page 6 article that came out on Monday regarding them being involved now. This all happened supposedly in Orinda, California in March of 2018. Supposedly defendant Drewski covered the plaintiff's naked body in like an oil or a lubricant, and then treated her body like a slip and slide, knocking the wind out of the plaintiff due to his enormous size. This is all in the official filing. And then he caught himself from sliding off of her body before violently assaulting her vaginally, right? This was supposedly March of 2018. Drewski started posting videos, like his first set of videos, and these weren't even ones that went viral, but his first set of videos apparently in October of 2017. Drewski really did not get, there is no world, when you go back and look at it, that Drewski got famous in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in like 6 months. He did not see the type of success where he was working with Diddy whatsoever, because if you go and you look at like even just his Wikipedia page, he started working with Diddy at Revolt in 2021, I believe is what it said. He had gotten a little famous before that, but it was right around 2020, and his first major thing that he ended up doing was the music video with Jack Harlow for Tyler Hero. So the timelines of when Drewski even knew OBJ or Diddy don't make any sense. They just don't. Now, to say that maybe there is something way down the line, something like that, sure, but it does not help your case if you're making claims about something allegedly happening in 2018 when one of the persons involved would have had no association with anybody, let alone the talk of OBJ saying he had never been to that city or Arenda, California, and things like that. So if this is all, like, it's kind of that weird scenario that it doesn't apply directly here because watch a lot of lawyer shows. I would much rather have one of my lawyer homies speak on it. But I watch enough of like SVU and stuff like that. They talk, or in law stuff where they talk about the idea of the fruit of the poisonous tree. So the idea of, let's say you got some evidence about something, like you found a notebook that had, it was a kid that was gonna attack his school, and he had a list of people, and they went and got that list out of his room, but it was an illegal search and seizure. That means anything that comes from that after the fact. So because they found the notebook, which told when he was going to do it, so you found the weapons and things like that, whatever else, all of that is proof of the poisonous tree. You can't use it anymore. Doesn't quite apply here, but it's a similar kind of thought process. If you're out here making claims about Drewski being involved, but Drewski wouldn't have known any of these people whatsoever, it then puts into question every other thing that's been brought up in the story of, okay, well, was OBJ actually there? Was this cop actually there? Did this happen in this particular place? Things like that. That is where you end up in trouble when you start claiming facts on things and those facts can't be realigned. They don't line up and things like that. So I just say all that to say the same thing I've said throughout. Those that are guilty of doing something, whether it be assault or false claims, need to be punished, and those that aren't, I hope that they get absolved and they're able to move on. But again, with everything with Diddy, there's just so much around it. He's definitely done something. Allegedly. Allegedly, stay the fuck away from me. I don't want to, but there's too much there for something to not go on. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments, man, if same thing, if what you think about OBJ and Drewski, about this Maui police chief, all of that. Let me know what you think. Let's go to one more story, man. Let's talk some sports. Sports always make people feel a little bit better, right? We have had a lot of free agency stuff going on, but I want to talk about the wide receiver shakeups that have happened around the NFL. Devontae Adams, Packer for a long time, then over to the Raiders for a while. Spent the second half of last season with the Jets trying to follow his BFF Aaron Rodgers. Well, he is officially a Los Angeles Ram. He has signed with the team for a 2-year deal and will be taking over for the duties of Cooper Kupp, who was just cut yesterday from the Rams after spending, I believe, the first 8 seasons with the team. Cooper Kupp won the Triple Crown ended up with a Triple Crown a couple years back, which is receptions, yards, and touchdowns, getting all 3 of those. He was also Super Bowl MVP that year when the Rams won the Super Bowl. He has now been cut and is a free agent. And then the Seahawks have traded DK Metcalf to the Pittsburgh Steelers. DK was looking for an extension for more money, and it wasn't going to potentially happen. So he's over with the Steelers now and got an extension he's looking for. So those are the 3 big ones. I mean, some other stuff that's happened around the league. You got Sam Darnold, who is now signed with the Seahawks. So that's actually going to be very interesting to see what goes on over there. There is a lot of rumors where Aaron Rodgers will land, if he's going to end up with the Vikings, or if he and kind of follow fully in Brett Favre's footsteps, or maybe if he goes to the Raiders or a number of other, or potentially the Steelers as well. Who else has been moved? DeMarcus Lawrence, it made me sad. He has left Dallas after 11 years and is now with the Seahawks as well. Just a lot of moving and shaking already happened, and the Cowboys haven't done a goddamn thing. I'll tell you that much. The draft is coming up soon. I'm actually very curious to see where a lot of the chips will fall once the draft actually hits, one way or the other. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting story to see how all of this kind of fares. I know that already the Steelers, with the upgrade of DK Metcalf and with the potential of Russell Wilson having one of his favorite targets out there in Pittsburgh back when he was with Seattle, is pretty big. And a lot of people are saying a lot of bets in Vegas are going up right now for the Steelers potentially making the Super Bowl. But a lot has to happen. You got to get through Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and so many other teams. in the AFC to get to that point, but they are getting a lot of notice right now. I think Jerry Jones, as always, is full of shit, and the Cowboys are not going to be good. They still haven't paid Micah Parsons. Just get that done. Let's not wait until the end of the fucking summer to do that. But I don't care anymore because that team has pissed me off enough. So all of that is very, very interesting, man. I really just want to get to the draft, and I want to see where Shedeur Sanders goes, where Travis Hunter goes, where Jonty goes. I'm hoping we can draft him. That would be cool. But why is it that every other team can see an abundance of riches and the Cowboys just get worse and worse and worse every fucking year? It's exactly why like I said, I am a fan free agent at this point. I'm not rooting for anybody. That old joke when they always like, can we not have a president? Can we just can America be single for a while? I'm single for a while when it comes to NFL team support. I'm just enjoying football games and playing fantasy football because I cannot keep going on this roller coaster one way or the other. I wish I knew how to quit you. I do know how to quit you, and it's to just not care. You haven't given me a reason to care, so I'm not gonna. But let me know what you think. Are you excited about any of these wide receivers moving? Has your team had a come up? Let me know what your team is and what exciting free agent stuff has happened that's got you kind of geeked out, man. There's been other stuff going on in the league, but it's a lot to cover, so we're just going to leave it at that. And that is going to be the Blerd Breakdown. I know it's kind of a short show, but I just wanted to come and see your shining faces and whatnot, man. So please be sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when stuff's dropping, and throw a thumbs up. I'm going to step away from this, and I got some more editing to do so I can throw some stuff on here. Please be sure to check that out. I'll be on I'll be on Capes and Cows tomorrow with Coy and Christian. It might just be me and Christian. I don't remember, but we will find out when I get there tomorrow. You'll find out when you get there tomorrow. So don't miss that over on the Christian Harloff channel. But definitely, if you haven't hit that notification bell, do it, man. I got some awesome stuff dropping in the next couple of days, which I am super geeked out about. But other than that, I got nothing but love for each and every one of you. I also will be doing, hopefully tonight, a little bit of Twitch streaming, so I will let you know about that. Stay tuned on Blue Sky and Twitter. I will throw up a post about that. We'll play some more Rivals, man. I just got to gold, which is fucking dope, man. So we'll keep it pushing and see how far I can push the damn thing. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all stay safe, and I'll see you on the flip, man. Peace. Oh, yeah, I guess I should probably hit the outro, right?